Good afternoon, Jets Nation. You're tuning into New York Jets News. I'm your host, G Jets, and you're tuning into my New York Jets mock-off season 1.0. Without further ado, let's get started. So before we make any moves, let's see how much cap space the New York Jets have. We currently have around $67 million cap space, but with cuts, we can increase that number. So let's go ahead and make some cuts. I have the Jets cutting Henry Anderson, Alex Lewis, Greg Van Roden, and Ryan Griffin. All those cuts bring the salary cap from $67 million to $83 million. Then I have the New York Jets trading Sam Darnold to the Washington football team for a second-round pick in 2021 and a fourth-round pick in 2022. That move brings the salary cap up from $83 million to $87 million. So the New York Jets now have $87 million to re-sign and sign players. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Starting off with re-signings, the Jets franchise tagging Marcus May. The franchise tag number for safeties this offseason is around $11 million. I mean, New York Jets have to retain Marcus May. He was the heart and soul of our defense. Last season, he made multiple game-saving plays, multiple amazing interceptions, and the Jets can't get a contract done in place. I mean, we can't let him walk, so we might as well should franchise tag him. Have the New York Jets re-signing Brian Poole to a 2-year, $12 million contract. That's $6 million a season. I know there's rumors going around that the New York Jets are not going to be bringing back Brian Poole, but I just don't see how Joe Douglas is letting this guy walk. I know Jabril Cox looks like he has a good future ahead of him, but it's just, Brian Poole has been so good for the New York Jets these past couple of seasons. I mean, I know he's missed some times due to injuries, but in Atlanta, he was pretty healthy. And I mean, I think the New York Jets should definitely bring back Brian Poole, one of the best slot cornerbacks in the NFL. Guy hasn't let up a touchdown. He only let up one touchdown from the slot since 2019. Absolutely absurd, and the New York Jets should definitely bring him back. The rest of the re-signings the Jets making are just primarily death signings. So I have Pat Eifling, Daniel Brown to 1-year, $1 million contracts. Eifling started in 6 games last season. While he wasn't great, he was decent def. Daniel Brown, Brant Boyer likes him on special teams. Frankie Louvu, Harvey Langi, and Louvu signing to 1-year, $1.5 million contracts. I compare Louvu to a pinball. Once the pinball gets plucked, it just goes all over, bouncing off walls, and just doesn't seem to stop. That's an accurate representation of Harvey Langi. Once the ball is snapped, man just flying all over the field trying to get the tackle and just does not seem to rest. Then I have Matthias Farley signing to a 1-year, $1.4 million contract, and Arthur Millette signing to a 1-year, $1.5 million contract. Matthias Farley, special teams captain last season. They like him on special teams, decent safety. Millette, I really like his versatility. He played safety towards the end of the season whenever people were starting to get hurt and wasn't that bad as a cornerback. But these are all the re-signings I have the New York Jets making this offseason. Now on to the free agent signings. The first player the Jets signing is wide receiver Corey Davis, signing him to a 3-year, $31.5 million contract. That's $10.5 million a season. Corey Davis started off his career pretty rough. I mean, he was very disappointing for a 5th overall pick. But then in 2020, he just all of a sudden started performing at a really high level, having 984 receiving yards, 5 touchdowns, had a very high Pro Football Focus grade. Guy just balled out. And it's unsure if, Corey Davis might not play the way he played in 2020 and 2021, but there's always a chance, and I think the New York Jets are willing to bet on that. Some people also have the Jets going with Curtis Samuel, but if I'm looking at a receiver to be my number 1 guy, I'm liking Corey Davis to do that better than Curtis Samuel. Not saying Samuel's not a good player, but I more see him as a slot receiver than a, wide receiver 1 type of guy. Then I have the New York Jets signing Richard Sherman to a 1-year, $7 million contract. Richard Sherman is a bit on the older side, but he's still playing at a decently high level. And what I like about the Sherman signing is that he brings a lot of knowledge into this cornerback room. I mean, most of the cornerbacks on the New York Jets roster are heading into their 2nd, their 3rd years as a pro. They're fairly young, and getting a guy like Richard Sherman who can mentor them up into some pretty good players, I really like the idea of that. Then I have the New York signing Carl Lawson, edge rusher from the Cincinnati Bengals, signing him to a 3-year, $33 million contract. that's $11 million a season. I really think Carl Lawson can thrive in a 4-3 system with Robert Saleh as the head coach. Really excited about this Carl Lawson signing. The Jets signing offensive guard Joe Thuney to a 4-year, $58 million contract. That's $14.5 million a season. Thuney's our big ticket free agent. I mean, we cut both of our starting guards, so we definitely need to look to improve. And look, we don't need to go down the road of signing a kind of good guard, but he's not fantastic. I mean, the New York Jets need to just sign a top 5 guard in the NFL. Joe Thuney is that. Very versatile guy, and Joe Douglas freaking loves this guy. He wanted to sign him so bad last offseason before Thuney got tagged by the Patriots, and now he's expected to hit the open market, and I definitely think Joe Douglas is going to pursue. Next, we have Jamal Williams signing to a 2-year, $6 million contract, $3 million a season. I said it before on my channel, I'm going to say it again. You do not need to pay a running back $15 million a season. It's just absurd in today's NFL. If you have a decent offensive line, anybody can run for over 1,000 yards a season. And let's get a guy like Jamal Williams, one of the best backups in the NFL. Maybe he can produce like a starter. I really think the New York Jets could have a nice running back room with Jamal Williams and Ty Johnson and LaMichael P. Ryan. And the final signing the New York Jets making is quarterback C.J. Beathard, having the Jets signing him to a 1-year, $2.5 million contract. He's going to be backing up quarterback the Jets will be drafting at number 2 from BYU. I think you know who I'm aiming at. But anyway, C.J. Beathard, he's already familiar with the Kyle Shanahan system, coming from San Francisco, actually playing in the system for like 4 seasons. So he's already familiar with the system, and I mean, if you're going to get a backup QB, might as well be a guy who's familiar with the system. Now, let's get on to the NFL draft. Oh, wait, before, we go into the NFL draft, after all these signings, the New York Jets have $24.2 million left, and we have to have around $8 million to sign our draft class, so we're probably going to have around $16 million of rollover cap heading into 2022. Not bad. Alright, so with pick number 2, I had the New York Jets selecting quarterback Zach Wilson from Birmingham University. Wilson had himself quite a season in 2020. I mean, if you watch this guy's film, you can just see this guy is amazing. And no, I don't think that him playing on a cupcake schedule in 2020 means anything. This guy's a talented player, and just don't listen what Mel Kiper says. He's had multiple incorrect assumptions all throughout, his career being an analyst, so I just don't think you should take in his comments about Zach Wilson. Wilson's a phenomenal player and will thrive in this Kyle Shanahan system. He said himself that he will thrive in a Kyle Shanahan system. So, yeah, you are going to love Zach Wilson on the New York Jets. Next up, we have Joseph Ossai, an edge rusher out of the University of Texas. Jets need a guy to go alongside Carl Lawson, rushing the quarterback. And I definitely think Ossai can thrive in a 4-3 system with Robert Saleh as the head coach. This defensive line is looking pretty scary with Ossai, Lawson on the edge, and Franklin Myers, Quinnen Williams, and Folarin Fatakusi at the interior defense line. At pick 34, I have the Jets selecting Wyatt Davis, offensive guard from Ohio State University. Wyatt Davis is a first-round talent, but with a gruesome knee injury in the national championship, his stock fell to around round 2. Some mocks have him going in late round 1, but in most of the mock drafts I did, I had Wyatt Davis going in round 2. Really, I think the New York Jets are getting a steal here because most teams probably aren't going to draft him because he has a kind of a bit of an injury history, but I think Joe Douglas, Jets are willing to take a bet on him. I think he's going to do great for the New York Jets. Then at pick 51, I have the Jets selecting Tyson Campbell, cornerback from Georgia. Now, while I do think Sherman can help mentor some of these cornerbacks into the roster onto some really good cornerbacks, I don't think all of them are going to be. So we might as well draft a guy with this new pick we have from Washington and get Tyson Campbell, a good starting outside cornerback from Georgia who can probably start right away. Next up, we have pick 66, and that is going to be Jabril Cox, linebacker from LSU. We need to linebacker that could start alongside CJ Mosley. Maybe Harvey Lange could fill that role, but I'm more kind of liking him as a backup more than a starter. And let's get Jabril Cox, one of the best coverage linebackers in this NFL draft class of linebackers. The New York Jets need some coverage linebackers. We really haven't had one since CJ Mosley played in 2019. Neville Cuban and Lange struggled guarding running back, tight ends, and receivers this past season, so I think we should get some guys who can cover those guys so our defense isn't as bad. Then we have Elijah Moore, wide receiver from Ole Miss. Really now, after this Moore pick, or starting with the Moore pick, it's just death from now on. New York Jets need to look to find some good backups in all of these positions. I mean, last season, Jets were very thin at wide receiver. Let's go ahead and draft a guy in the NFL draft who, in my opinion, is a very nice receiver. Pick 107, James Hudson. Offensive tackle, we have Drake Jackson, who I forgot to put what position he is, but I'm pretty sure he's a center from Duke. Then we have Trey McKitty, tight end from Georgia. Sari Crosswell, safety from Arizona. And Riley Patterson, kicker from Memphis University. Well, that is my New York Jets mock draft 1.0. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I mean, this is my first time ever trying to do something like this. I know it wasn't perfect, but hopefully it was at least all right. I mean, I know the mock draft, I probably should have drafted another receiver here and there. But anyway, I think it's decent for a mock draft. I'm maybe going to be doing another one of these depending on how you guys like this video. Depends on how much likes, how much views this gets. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you're new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to hit that like button. With all that out of the way, thank you for watching, and as always, go Jets. See you later.